Hi and welcome to day 118 of A Year of Living Sincerely. I am coming to you live from University of Alabama at Birmingham's Visual Art Gallery, where the SCAR Project and the Alabama Project are premiering this week. Standing by my friend Leah's SCAR portrait with Lady Gaga. Super, super awesome. That's Leah. And that's Lady Gaga. And here's me in between, kind of like a Julie sandwich, which is awesome. So, yeah. Anyway, David J., the SCAR Project photographer, is getting ready to do an interview, do a talk here with photography students at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I'm here to video that. And so, yeah, it should be really groovy. All right, peace out.
I'm happy to kind of give you guys a bit of the back,
backstory. We don't know that. Yeah.
Yep. Here's the deal. I was born in California a long time ago. Ended up moving to Australia and spent the last 20 or 25 years there. I moved back to New York about 6 years ago. For the majority of that time, and I still am, the last 27 years I've been a professional fashion photographer. About 6 years ago, I started working on a personal project, the SCAR Project. I started that with my girlfriend's, at the time, her identical twin in Australia. Got breast cancer when she was 29. I had known the girls since they were teenagers, 17, and they were models when they were young. And Paulina, the twin sister of my girlfriend, was 29 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And within about 2 weeks, they had done a mastectomy and started radiation and all the things that go along with this. And it was really just an incredibly, I don't know, challenging time, certainly for her, but for everyone that loved her as well. And I kind of watched her through the whole process, and once they removed her breast, I had shot her 100 times since she was 17. And when they did that, I thought, I have to take a picture again. With no intention, other than to just kind of, I don't know, just have that interaction again, and kind of document her new reality. So I dragged her in the studio in Sydney in just a pair of jeans and no shirt, and took this kind of beautifully disturbing black and white portrait of her, just for the two of us. And it never occurred to me that it would have any impact other than just us taking a picture again. And I didn't realize the impact it would have on her. I don't know, her psyche, the way she kind of felt about herself, and coming to terms with what had happened to her. And after we got done shooting, she said, maybe you'd like to shoot some of the other girls that I've gone through chemo with. They're also in their 20s. And she said, I think you might find it interesting, and I think they'll definitely get something out of it. I said, all right. And she called a couple of her friends that were chemo ladies, and also they're in their 20s. And over the next couple of weeks, I got them in the studio and took these kind of just very simple portraits of them as well. Not beautiful portraits, just kind of basic portraits. That was the beginning of the SCAR Project, and I've continued shooting it for the past 6 years. The first exhibition was about 2 years ago in New York, and it's just really grown into this quite a beautiful project. And although most of the girls get better, of course some of them do not. They follow that percentage that continue to get more and more ill. And I try to follow them and keep taking a picture and add that picture to the exhibition and add the last picture to the exhibition. So that's kind of what's going on with the SCAR Project. The Alabama project, was never meant to be an exhibition. It really came about when somebody put me in contact with Leah, who's this girl there, and also the girl on the back wall. Somebody had called me from Seattle, and a woman who wanted to bring the SCAR Project exhibition to Washington. She said, by the way, I'm going to be mentoring this young girl. She lives in Demopolis, Alabama. Has anyone here ever heard of Demopolis? said, I think she's a really nice girl, and I think she'd be an interesting subject for you. So I made contact with Leah, and she was just a super sweet girl. She was diagnosed, I think, when she was 17 or 18, and it had a mastectomy already, and the reconstruction had gone really poorly and had to be removed. But more than that was her struggle with financing her health care. And she comes from a very poor family. She lives with her boyfriend in his parents' house in the same room as his younger sister. And I just thought, oh, that's a story that has to be told. And I ended up coming down to Alabama, really to take her picture. But in discussing all of this, it turned out there were a lot of young women in a very similar predicament, having breast cancer and having really outrageous medical expenses and kind of falling between the cracks of the healthcare system. And I thought this is a good opportunity just to kind of maybe meet up with them, maybe take their pictures, and hopefully, just as a way to illustrate the story, and then hopefully some journalist will get on it and maybe write a story about it. This past year being an election year and healthcare being a big issue. I thought, this won't really be about the pictures, but it's a good way to illustrate the story with just a bit of reality. And we made contact with 4 other women here. And over the course of just a couple of days, came down to Alabama, shot Leah for 1 day out in Demopolis. And the next couple of days here in Birmingham, at their houses, at the hospital. And it was just an amazing experience. I just took a handful of pictures. And I was introduced to Cynthia Ryan. Do you guys know who Cynthia is? She's an English professor here. She's an English professor here, and just a fantastic person, and a bit of an activist herself, and a very good writer, and artsy-fartsy kind of person as well. And she was really interested.
And she was gored by a bull.
And she was gored by a bull in India. And she was excited by the project and wrote some articles about it and suggested that maybe it could that this could be its own little subset of the SCAR project. And although the images were never intended to be run as an exhibition, they were just meant to accompany, a newspaper article or a magazine article or something. This is kind of where they've ended up, in this kind of dual exhibition of the SCAR project and the Alabama project. So that's the backstory. Any questions? All right, we can all go then.